Okay, the stream is live. We are now live on YouTube. What's up, YouTube? This is man Strawhead KiLiK checking in with you once again. Back today with the legendary, the omnipresent, the multi-powerful, multi-genius Ital Iman I. We're gonna do a smooth interview today. We give thanks. That was my brethren, Joshua O'Dine. Ital Iman I, how are you today? Welcome.
Yes, sir. Great, brother. I'm feeling good. Happy to be here with you this morning, that we can get some vital information out to the people. I give thanks for that. Give thanks for you reaching out. You know, we're in this together, one love, you know. You gotta spread the oneness, brother. Spread the oneness.
That's right. Spread the oneness every day, the upward vibrations. We want to make sure that our people know that in these trying times that we have the tools, we have the information that we can study, and all we have to do is take the first step, and the angels and all the ancestors will take 2 steps towards us. So
yes, sir.
In this day and time, I just give thanks to even be able to come into the information, because for me, I know that I was just pretty much perusing the internet. I met my brethren Joshua O'Dine. Actually, he was a great dude. I met him a while back at the Nashville Cyphers, this Music City. He introduced me to, he didn't necessarily introduce me, but he was my first Rasta brother in real life, I seen it online.
Okay.
I did my studies of Marcus Garvey, and coming in close proximity with him, hearing him beat the drum, guitar, gave me insight into the liberty, into the life of His Honorable Majesty, His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie I. So then ran into the brethren, Ross Corey, Mandela Effect.
Yes, Ross Corey, yes.
Yeah, he told me this.
He lives there in Carolina, doesn't he? Where you live at?
He lives down the road from me in the McMinnville, Tennessee. It's about an hour.
Okay, Ross Corey.
Yeah, Ross Corey. Yeah,
beautiful brother, yeah.
Yeah, so Ross Corey and Joshua went down to Atlanta to see Vaughn, and so when I was really close with Joshua, he was telling me how he was sad about missing Vaughn to make music with him. They met, and so the brethren Ross Corey was like, "You gotta check out Ital Iman." He was like, "You gotta check out Ital Iman on YouTube." So then I'm coming to your YouTube and I'm seeing the information about Sirius, the Anunnaki. These are subjects that come to me in my sleep. The uploads and downloads. So
okay.
I'm grateful for the connection, and I just say I'm glad to even get the forethought to say, "Hey, will you do this interview with me?" I saw your interview with the young woman, and I'm inspired.
Yes, Jennifer Easton. She's one of the great patriots out there. Everybody's right now shocked, but I keep the faith, because Allah, Jah, is behind all this thing that we do. Man plans a plan, and Allah, He's the best of planners. So a lot of people are thinking about, what is Trump going to do? Is Biden going to get it? But we performed yesterday. We got 13 days, and I looked at 13 days. That's a magical number, so anything could happen. A lot of the close people around Trump, they don't really know what's going on either. But it's really the gods that's moving things that man think they're moving. So all we could do is just sit back and watch, observe, pray, meditate, work on ourselves at the moment as black people, work on ourselves, because finally it's going to be in our hands anyway, the moves that we will have to make, because Babylon itself was raised up just to be brought down.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So we know Babylon is falling. So Trump was doing his thing, all that he could do to help it to fall. So if he's too weak for those powers, then Allah will step in. And we know right from wrong, so we know that Biden is not going to be our leader. Jah is our leader. Haile Selassie is our leader.
Yes, sir.
You know, Rastafari is our leader. We control ourselves. We guide ourselves.
Yes, sir.
So it's time for us to look within ourselves and manifest the righteousness and the power of the Almighty that's within ourselves manifested in our reality.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Give thanks. And so with that, you know, it's an awesome introduction. You know, we had the crazy events here in Nashville, Tennessee about a week ago. We had the crazy events in the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., where I'm still a citizen. I used to live in Washington, D.C., so it's very close to home, that one. And at this point, also, we know that, what is it, in about a week or 10 days, was it January 16th, they usher in the presidential switch, so it's a good time.
January 20th, it was 13 days from yesterday. Now it's 12 days, and that number 13 was very significant because that's the number of the ancient Olmec calendar, and it's the vibration of Washington, D.C. That number 13. You can look at the tags, you know, the car tags, those 2 bars and 3 stars.
Oh, I saw that on your video, the one, Hopiani, I think you
yes.
2 years ago, yeah. And that stood out to me because, you know, I like to look at the ancient texts, the hieroglyphs and petroglyphs, and so seeing how they did put the 3 dots and the 2 lines, that's the same flag as DC flag.
Yes. It's genetically done. You know, the Anunnaki, when they created the humans, they encoded in their DNA the future. So whatever they do, it's always not totally them that's doing it. They're programmed to be as they are. So it's a test. It's just like, oh man, it seems like Trump is not going to win after all that talk, you know, Biden. But we got to remember, it's not them that's doing what they do. And everything will work out fine. Even if Biden do get it, we don't follow Biden. You know, we will just know what time it really is. We know that we'll have to get ourselves together and do what we come here to do as black people. And the whole objective of us being here in the wilderness of North America is to be free. A lot of people has forgotten that.
That's right. And if you can see on the screen, I'm pulling up the 13 flag just so people can see a little bit of the history that we're talking about.
Yes.
So that's the 13 right there.
Yeah, that's the number system from the Zolkin, the Maya calendar, Zolkin.
Yeah.
It's actually, yes, I see it there. It's actually a genetic sounding board, a technology to look into the future, time travel technology.
So I'm seeing, I see it right here, the Zolkin. Whoa, that is interesting. It looks kind of like that, the calendar. The one that's been around, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is a calendar.
And those 3 stars remind me of Tennessee Court of 3 Stars, which the scholar William Henry, who I saw you put on there. Yeah, I read his book. The
great guy, William Henry. Yes, he breaks it down. He breaks the Nashville Mall down, the esoterics of the Nashville Mall.
Yeah, that place is very interesting.
Have you ever taken one of those tours?
I haven't taken his tour. I read his book, and I live down the street from this place. My mother does. She just moved. But I actually walked from the base, or we call the root chakra, all the way up to the crown chakra, and I did a meditation there in those bells.
The little sound chamber there. That's a deep situation, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it activated when I did some chanting on top of that magnetic pole. So I think it's something very much so encoded there. And also, he doesn't talk about it in his book, but above that court where the crown chakra is represented, there's a time capsule, and it's buried in the ground. It says, "Do not open until 2025 or something like that, or 2040. It's like an auspicious year, but I'm gonna check into it again.
Yeah, I see the stars. So Tennessee, the logo of Tennessee is it 3 stars?
Yeah, so that reminded me of the Omeg
Hmm.
13 right there too, the three
Yeah.
stars.
You know, you have the 3 stars in the belt of Orion, you know,
Exactly.
and they point to the star Sirius,
That's right.
which is the main vibration of Earth. Earth and Sirius has this destiny with Sirius and the Earth, which played out greatly in 2012 when our sun became a bulge in the Milky Way. Quetzalcoatl, the Maya god who is actually thought in Egypt, great, which was actually thought in Egypt, and the 3 Hopi mesas, what you know, just like the pyramids there,
Yes.
the 3 stars, the belt of Orion is over the pyramids.
Right.
So it's the same with the 3 Hopi mesas, Mesa 1, 2, and 3. Those stars are over the mesas, and they tilt like they do to Sirius. And where they tilt is to Chaco Canyon, which is like 1, 2, and 3rd Mesa. They tilt to Chaco Canyon, which is about 125 miles away in New Mexico, and that represents Sirius. Chaco Canyon. That's the that's the great house, Pueblo Bonito, right there. Yeah, that's Pueblo Bonito, the great house, Chaco Canyon, and that's where the ancient people that know the Olmec and different other sages met. Like when that happened back in the old days, they go there, Chaco Canyon, meet, sit down, and talk about the future and map out time and space. And that happens like every 6,000 years before the shift of the Earth. So that's what we did in 2012. We followed the Hopi migration. Like in the beginning, the Masao, the Hopi god, who's called took them down to those kivas to meet with the ant people that took them underground. And a lot of people take the ant people literally, like, you know, people think about reptilians, you know, ant head beings, but the ant people were Anunnaki. For instance, the word ant in Hopi is Anu. So that lets us know that Anunnaki at the time of the floods or the first world was destroyed, took them down into the Kiva. Yes, perfect. The Kivas, and took them underground. You know how ant build colonies underground.
Yeah.
So Anunnaki built underground cities and things like that. Yes, yes.
Okay.
So we see the information is here. You know, it's here. So it's no excuse. You know, some people they just want to believe. Some people just want to believe in aliens. You know, they just want to believe that this is not when the Egyptian gods have on the eagle heads. You know, they want to think that they're just eagle head man. You know, and they can't see that eagle head is a what do you call it, helmet.
Exactly.
You know, just like the NASA says, the eagle has landed.
Mm-hmm.
So when the Anunnaki came here, they got into the eagle's nest, which was their spacecraft. They set in the eagle's nest, they placed their eagle's helmet on, and they came down here. So it's just symbolic. All these things are symbolic, and you know that's my job. Part of my job at this time is to break down the syllables and basically break down the walls of illusion that the people explore the practicality of this seemingly new information. But it was always known to the ancient people. You know, we're just bombarded today by propaganda, and there's no one that's breaking down this propaganda. Everybody's trying to make $1 off of YouTube, you know, million hits and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, this right here on screen is a cover image for a movie that I produced 5 years ago called Atlantis: The Middle Passage. But you talking
Mm.
about the eagle head being a helmet. This is the cover
Yeah.
photo I used. It's an artist, you know, his credit is in the bio, but that's the concept I was going for. Was the movie was honestly inspired by researching the connection between Parliament Funkadelic, the ancient Egyptian water rights, and then our current situation with what was going on in Flint. So the movie, it seeks to answer the question of who are we, where are we going, what are we doing, and why are we here, why are we persecuted. The answer is water. I said that we are Atlantis. We just forgot who we were. Atlantis is more of a mindset, kind of along the lines of this messianic mindset, where there isn't one Messiah who will be reborn, but it's the thought process and the patterns of almost a
Consciousness. Yes.
exactly in the
Consciousness.
Rastafari exactly. And so that's
We
that's
just
it's just tight to see the connection between the imagery that I chose for the cover and what we're talking about with the eagle's nest. And honestly,
well, it's already in you. It's DNA.
absolutely,
It's already in us anyway. So we know. So speaking of this, what do you think about your boy George Clinton the other day? Take your shot. Get your shot.
oh man,
Take your shot.
I didn't even know he did that. I wish I didn't know that. George Clinton, he an advocate for the shot.
Well,
Man.
he's we call it Phi Beta Pi
Uh,
Boule.
yeah, I didn't know he was boule like that.
Yeah, I had ran into him one night on the alley somewhere, and I was telling him about. I think I said I was your brother. Brothers. Talking about the master blaster as always, and he said he was talking to one of his Pi brothers back there, and he was saying that's his brother. So when I saw the thing the other day, I thought about that. I said, yeah, he's a boule, but see, what happened is they got to George. George knows that what he's singing about is a reality of our spiritual science, our Kabbalah. But the white people of the establishment, Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, they don't want that to be a reality. Oh my God. You know what? That's a shame before God.
Man,
Look at him. Looking like a total buffoon. Bro.
Threw the horns up with everything. Look at him.
Oh man. Look at it. Look at it. Hey, I hope we don't get flagged, but they'll just probably give you a warning. You're not really doing anything dangerous. But George knows what the deal is, because I was listening to something by Boosie Collins yesterday. A brother Melchizedek sent me this video by Boosie, and Boosie was explaining about the one, how the one came about.
Yeah.
And it actually is a science, and in the Holy Book of Wonder, I break it all down. It's our Kabbalistic wisdom. But they don't want us to know that, so the people that control George just told him, say, like, okay, look, man, you can't be out there telling these people nothing about this kind of thing. Because we know that Anunnaki is real. The Sumerian text tells us that they built the pyramids. So the mothership is nothing out of place. You see?
Yeah.
But I have faith in the one. I know that everything is going to work out right, but I just hope Stevie don't freak out and come on. People, peace and love. We need you to take the shot, follow the government.
Nice, easy.
It's all about what's right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'll be a hell of a thing.
We can't have that.
Well, who knows? George did it. And you know how Stevie was running behind. I saw this picture where Stevie was running behind Michelle Obama, and he fell on stage.
Yeah.
And him and Obama is pretty tight. So I don't know. Well, anyway, this thing is about inspiration. Regardless if the musician understands what's coming through him. That's the picture over there, bro.
This one right here.
You see right on the left. I think it's on your left, where it says Obama. They're picking Stevie up off the floor.
Oh, this
Yeah,
one
you
right
know.
here. Yeah. He had to
Hey,
get grounded.
I didn't make this be a comedy show, but
Yeah.
that's when he was. Stevie was crazy about women, so I guess he's thinking, maybe he's blind and don't know that this allegedly Michelle is a tranny.
Michael. That's what I heard.
Yeah, Michael.
Right.
So he's running behind Michael's butt and trips and falls.
Mm.
So we're in bad shape. We're all blind. Because if Stevie can't see that Obama is the devil, whew, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Number one. Now, this album here, right? Master Blaster Jamming. That piano has always intrigued me, but Stevie, when he was 23, he was going to this concert in the Carolinas, and his cousin was driving his car, and he was listening to Higher Grounds, and the car hit the back of the truck, and a log hit him in the head. That's one story goes like that, and he went into a coma. One story that the flatbed hit him in the head.
Yeah.
So he goes into his coma. So scientifically, when you go into a coma, your soul leaves your body.
Astral projection.
Yeah. So he went to this higher ground, this higher place. Seriously, he was programmed. So when he came back, he started singing the Dogon wisdom. When you're moving the pilot of your destination, the brightest star. But that album before that, after that, I believe, was Journey Through the Secret Life of Plants.
Oh, yeah.
And there he talks about the rotation of the small, heavy star that rotates around the brightly shining star every 50 years. And that's celebrated every 60 years by the Dogon. So we asked the Dogon, why do you celebrate that 50-year rotation every 60 years? And they say to renew the earth. So every 6,000 years, there is a pole shift or natural disaster. So Stevie Wonder was programmed to bring us that information through the music.
Oh, yeah.
So we know that what's written in the Holy Book of Wonder is true. Now these people that's a part of the government, the Boule, Phi, Pi, Sigma, whatever you call it,
yeah,
they can't come out and say like we're saying, because they're part of those people that say, look, y'all got to keep the masses dumb. But the Dogon tells us that, okay, I went back to the 1400s, with the Dogon. That's when they started their Sigi. That's the first recorded Sigi was about the 1400s. And since the 1400s, there will be in 2027 the 11th Sigi feast. Even the number 2027 equals the number 11 numerologically. So we know that this information is our spiritual science, whether George Clinton admits it or not. It really don't matter, because there were a lot of people a part of that P-Funk experience that picked up on that vibration. So they will be able to perform when it's time for the poets and the musicians to perform the Black Rite of Osiris, which is the Master Blaster Jamming, as written in the Holy Book of Wonder.
Yeah, my opinion on that is that you said he went into the coma, he tapped into the psycho-spiritual realm. But I think what happens is the ancestors in the ethereal realms, they look for portals. They say, okay, you're a musician, you got a great platform, and your mind is now open. You're on our level, so we're going to use you and upload a lot of the information to our people. And maybe after a while, he kind of woke up and got back to his self, or George Clinton tapped back in, the Boule grabbed him and pulled him out of there. But for a time, I feel like the ancestors will use whatever means, even be it Donald Trump or, whatever, to get us the information.
Absolutely.
And raise the planet to where it needs to be.
I agree. Right. So if me and you see it, that's what it was meant to be. Yeah, that's what it was meant to be.
It's like a shooting star. You know, if ever you say, "Oh, did you see that shooting star?" Say, "Nah, that was for me." You know, that was my
Yeah. True.
Well, I want to go ahead and get started with the formal interview. I'm gonna ask you about 7 questions. Of course, you take your time and answer them however you would like.
Yes.
And as you go through it, I will do sort of the same thing and kind of Google some images to give some imagery for the viewers and even for myself to connect. But the first question is very, take it however you want. Who are you?
And as far as I can recall of myself in retrospect, I was about 3 years old. And there were 3 brothers in a Jim Crow setting in the South in Florida. And every night, 3 brothers sleeping in one bed. That's how poor we were. So I was born in the Sputnik era. A lot of people, I'll let you research it. I don't have to tell you my age, but you just know I was born in the Sputnik era. And every night, and I used to hate this, my soul would leave my body and it would go to the constellation Sirius, and I was programmed. And what I came out with to understand in the future is what I am teaching now, which comes from the Holy Book of Wonder. I studied broadcasting. I never did get a degree in broadcasting, but I've studied broadcasting. The reason that I didn't get a degree in broadcasting, when I got my first job at a radio station, I realized that it was about selling products. So I couldn't be myself. I couldn't be creative. Therefore, I just dropped all academic stuff and I started brokering my own shows, and I started just promoting myself and doing my own thing. So I would go to radio stations. I was on a lot of other famous people's programs, but I started doing my own thing. As a journalist and a broadcaster, I became a credible journalist in the year 2003. I was the only black journalist to cover the Beltway sniper trial in its entirety in Maryland. Not Maryland, but Virginia. And I was the only independent journalist to cover that trial as well. And that trial was a blacked out trial. It wasn't covered like the O.J. Simpson's trial. It was, they didn't want people to know what was going on. So I realized that before I took the journey there to participate in the trial. So I saw what the sniper was doing, and I realized that he was sending out messages, codes. So I went there, and as I was covering the trial for a few days, I knew that some great media would send somebody to interview me to find out what I was doing. Because when I first tried to go, I was stopped by the FBI, and they took all of my books. I had a lot of books with me, so they took my books, and they interrogated me for about an hour. So I went back home, and then we came back to the main trial. And the Washington Post picked up on me during the trial, and they wrote a whole page in the Washington Post about me covering that particular trial. So that's when I became credible, a bona fide journalist. So I've written now about 13 books now. If there are any specifics, and that write-up, it went to just about every major paper in the country. It actually went worldwide, globally. So it was a big move for the Rastafari movement, because there's this Rasta man that's a journalist that covered the biggest trial in history. That trial was a major, it was the biggest trial ever, the biggest manhunt. It took 23 days. There's that number 23 again. It took 23 days to capture Muhammad. He actually turned himself in by code. So I teach in my teachings that when you hear the number 23, you're vibrating or resonating to a higher force, which is Sirius. And the Sirius constellation and that energy was the energy that was speaking and moving through John Muhammad, and it was taking people to a higher level of consciousness. You know how some people say that Jupiter and Saturn took us to a higher level of consciousness?
Yes.
Well, that the John Ali Muhammad scenario did that. And it was saying that, look, it's time for us to look at things in a different way. Yes, Haile Selassie vibrates on that same vibration. His birthday was the 23rd. That's July 23rd. And notice the Orion, he represents Orion, the dog of Orion, Sirius, and the dog that Haile Selassie had. So John Ali Muhammad's birthday vibrated to that number 23 also.
We give thanks. Yes, is there anything you want to say about your lineage and as far as who you are? You know, a lot of times who we are is represented through our ancestors, through our people. And I want to give
Well,
to you as well.
I've always had this connection with this ancient American connection. I never thought about going to Africa. I never thought about any African roots. I was always connected to America, North America, the Olmec Maya. And I found that the Olmec Maya were the same people as the Anunnaki. And these are the people, I lived by the ocean for 23 years, the Atlantic Ocean on Amelia Island. And I would find different little artifacts. Some of them would come to me, but around the little hermitage that I lived in, there was like emeralds, you know, did serious multi-facet of stones in a place where they wouldn't normally be. And the place was called American Beach, where they wouldn't normally be. And I knew from there that there was energy talking to me. So when 2012, when I went to American Beach, yes, when I went to Chaco Canyon and visited the grandfather Martin, the keeper of the ancient stone tablets. So at Pueblo Bonito, the same stones I was finding in my yard, they were scattered at Pueblo Bonito. So I've always had this connection. You know, I knew that my ancestry was Native American, and my grandmother, you know, she used to tell me about Native American stories. You know, my grandfather, and so in Florida, there's a lot of Native American history, like ancient Native American history. So that's really being in the sun for 23 years at the ocean front. That I was like, the sun was sending me these messages. So I was programmed even from birth to deliver this message that I'm delivering today about the Anunnaki that told us to contact them when it gets hell to skelter. When it gets a time like this, they said, cry out to us with this code that we gave you in the Holy Book of Wonder. So it was proven to me that I was correct when I met Grandfather Martin in 2012, the keeper of the ancient stone tablets, that this stone was thrown to me in 2011. And it had a lot to do with the pineal gland and the Hopi stone tablets. There's a piece of this Hopi stone tablets, as the lore states, that the elder brother of the Hopi, the elder brother of the Hopi had the other part of this missing tablet. And the Rastafari, when I say Rastafari, I'm speaking of the information that I have representing the Rastafari. The Rastafari embodies that elder brother who was called Pohana, who would return. So what I found through my research was they would return to the Hopi to see if they were living their old ways. Now, this is actually their liturgies, their stories. And they would know the older brother because he would wear a red cap when he returns. Now, the Olmec did an experiment with the Chinese or the Tibetans. And the result of that union, the Olmec and the Tibetans, we get the Hopi. So they bred with the Tibetans for some reason, whatever reason they did that for, Anunnaki, Olmec. Then the Hopi was a result of that. The Hopi and the Dogon have the same rituals. Hopi talks about the blue Kachina,
Yeah.
you know, and we know that the blue Kachina is Sirius.
Yes.
So the Dogon, Hogan, the priest, when he goes through his initiation, he's given a red cap. So that information that the Dogon has, that's actually the other half of the stone tablets. But it's a lot of information that goes with that. For instance, there was a brother that died at the end of last year. His name was, they call him the Stone Man of the Gambia. And he brought us a lot of information, the Stone Man of the Gambia. He brought us some information about the stones. And his job was to, yes, that's him right there. His job was to, and the sister, Dr. Moonby, she interviewed him. And his thing was to bring out this ancient information, which was a oneness of our information. It was a collective information. And we know that being Dogon doesn't mean that you live in Mali. It's an ancient priesthood that the Egyptians set up years ago, many, many moons ago, that a lot of brothers from around the globe has this certain information. So the information of the Stone Man ties into all of this, which I wrote the book, The Stone Man's Transmission, which explains what the Stone Man was trying to do. And it hooks up with the Hopi, the Dogon. So all this wisdom is within that book called The Stone Man's Transmission. And what it is, yeah, that's it there. What it is that all this wisdom that we have collectively fuses into one great synthesis. And in it, there is no contradiction because it is the ancient wisdom of the Anunnaki. And what the essence of it is, even though there's like a plethora of information, the essence of it is when it comes to a time like now, we call out in unison to the gods, and they will return and redeem us from this natural disaster. This is what's going to happen. Even though we think there's going to be a future, you know, whether Trump or whether Biden gets in, it doesn't matter. The poles will shift, and they started shifting officially in the year 2000 when Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter aligned with the Earth for the first time in 6,000 years.
Exactly. And you're right on point with my next question. You've already answered it, but I would like to ask it as well. The question is, where are we? You know? We're
it's 2020, it's 2021. 21. So in 2027, we're at the door of total destruction, and we're at the point of no return right now, because that's the 11th Sigi feast, and the number 11 is very important. So anytime between now and 2027, anything could happen. You could have the return of the Anunnaki. You could have the Master Blaster jamming. You could have World War III physically blowing, everything blowing up, everything's helter-skelter. Anything could happen. But we should be going to higher grounds, finding higher locations away from the coastlines, away from the cities. But a lot of us, all we're thinking about is economic, getting enough money, building communities and all that. That's all good. But as it was written in the Bible, in the days of Noah, they was giving into marriage. Homosexuality was running rampant like mad dogs with rabies in the streets. You know, everybody saying, okay, it's all good. We won't Biden because we want to keep on partying like it was in the time of Obama. Hey.
So we're at a time in space and time right now. It's the crux on the edge of destruction. Like you said, we're at the door of destruction.
Babylon is falling. Every time a civilization fell, it was the end of time. The end of time, as we know it, happened in 2012. It was like everybody saw it. I mean, look, there were a lot of gay people. There were gay people back in my day, was just a few. You know, we knew that old so and so down the street was gay, but it wasn't no big thing. We knew that the organist in the choir, the church choir, was gay, but it wasn't no thing. So what Obama did, he came and let the dogs out. With all the wild food that we're eating, genetically modified food and all that, bought it on out.
Right.
Bought it on out.
That's right.
So that's where we at now. That's where we at now. Sodom and Gomorrah. Look at the people. Who do the majority of black women and church-going Christian black people want to be president? Biden.
Yeah.
That's where we at.
Yeah. Okay. The next question is, first question, who are you? Second question, where are we? Third question is,
I'm a spiritual traveler.
Oh yeah.
You know, yeah. So I kind of let the people know that music is the key to life. Music is actually the key to life. And there were songs that were played in the key of life. And we have, through our research, found these different keys of music that could actually stop coronal mass ejections and stuff like that. So people take the music for granted, but it's very, very serious. That's the main message, that music is the key to life. Like Bob Marley said, we free our people with music. And I just heard Bootsy Collins say that the other day. So that was running around through the community of the musicians, through these people that call themselves funketeers. It was a reality. But George wants to make it look like Ital Iman is crazy, and he's the one that's crazy. Take the shot, take the shot.
You're right. No, they crazy. Okay, where are we? When are we? Okay, the next question is, where are we going?
Well, we're on a bobsled, bro, and we're going to hell wide open. Because we don't have nobody that's talking like I'm talking. There's nobody saying, okay, let's call the ancestors and get off the planet because the planet is going to be destroyed. So if in fact the planet is going to be destroyed and you're on the planet, you're going to be destroyed. So like Bob Marley say, the only solution is total destruction. Total destruction is the only solution, because nobody is trying to call the ancestors. And the Bible says plainly, when the children of Israel, meaning children of the light,
that's right,
sinners, etc., cry out in unison, the gods, or the Christians fundamentally say, the God remembered the covenant when they cried out in unison. But nobody's crying out in unison. Everybody wants to be a Messiah. And through the science of physics, two objects cannot occupy the same space at the same time.
Yeah, it's a lot of ego, and
yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, and I really love the brother. I just got to know him the other day. His name is Prince Michael. I'm giving him a shout out.
Yes,
Prince Michael.
Salute.
You know Prince Michael?
Yeah, I sent you one of his videos.
Oh, did you? Well, I never looked at it, but we made him start talking. Hey. Prince Michael.
Yeah.
And so he's connected with the
Kikuyu in Kenya.
Yes.
That's
so
right.
That's a part of the prophecy, the Dogon prophecy.
Exactly.
So we're talking, and hopefully we can see eye to eye. But he has his mission, and every man's got to do his mission. But I throw it out to him.
Yeah.
So it's like marinating. So if we can come together and agree to join forces as one,
Yes.
great things can happen.
I see it. I would definitely. I was researching both of y'all at the same time, so I know the information is palatable and it's.
Yes, man. He's on it. He's
That's
on
right.
it.
That's right. Yeah,
He's blessed.
he spoke about the water tablets. They got the tablets over there.
Yes, man. He's blessed. I mean, the hope he speaks about the kicking you.
That's right.
You know, that's a part of the stone tablets mystery. Yes. So he's come forward. You know, the elders blessed him over there around the mountain. So in December, they're supposed to go up there and pray in front of the mountain and all that and pick up energy.
That seemed like a good place to go. I would like to go. You know.
Yes, man. I would like to go also. I'm planning on it. If you know, if the Lord's willing, I'll go.
That's right.
So yeah, Prince Mike.
Might see you in Kenya in December 27th. The spiritual walk. They circumambulate around Kenya.
Yes. Yeah. That's a serious vibe, bro. Serious vibe.
They go counterclockwise. Just
counterclockwise. That's the way all the planets do. You know, the Saturn counterclockwise.
That's right.
That's the vibe. You go around the Kaaba Mecca counterclockwise. Yes.
And so at this point, we've talked about who you are, where we are, where we're going. I would like to ask you now. Well, you've tapped into a lot of these, but specifically, I want to ask you, what is the question? You know, what's the great query? What is it that inquiring minds need to ask? You know, how do they do? Yeah.
Well, survival is a thing, survival. But in a world of propaganda, nobody is thinking about survival. All they're thinking about when the black people hear survival, what they're thinking about is money. You feel me?
Yeah.
Money, stability, like housing. Right? You know, they're not thinking about saving their lives, going to the mountains. Like a lot of people have fled America, where the fight really is. They fled America and they've gone to Africa, these different countries in Africa. They feel as if though they have this connection with Africa. So, I mean, well and good. And there are a few safe places in Africa. For instance, the highest elevations like Lalabali, they're in the mountain there in Kenya. So when the tsunamis come and the earthquakes come, you have to be in safe areas. So the wisdom in the Americas states that go to the Four Corners area, the area of Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. That's where the ancient people tell us to go. And that's where I'm waiting like the ibis bird, like thought, you know. Yeah. I'll be probably the last one that leave, but we have to stay until everybody else is gone.
That's right.
Because we know what the deal is. And we know that the earth is hollow because the Hopi wisdom tell us that the ant people led them underground. But the Four Corners area is a safe areas for us in America.
So we spoke a little bit. You mentioned the Hopi and the ant people and underground. I did some time talking about going to Africa. I'm tapped in as well. My people are indigenous here to the southeastern region. Going into the Cherokee, and even from Virginia we got the Powhatans. But I know that in my journey, you know, I read your journey, some of it, how you looked into Islam, and the nation was great teachers for you as well. But for me, I had went down the path as well of, you know, this Africanism, Pan-Africanism, which was, you know, great and righteous to the point where I remember, you know, my indigenous roots in America. But I did go to Africa, is what I'm saying. I was in Ghana. I went to Ghana for about 6 months, and I went again for 5 months. One thing I learned when I was there is that their capital city, Accra, you know, it's named after the ancient kingdom of Ghana. But Accra means, Accra is the city. The people that live in Accra are the Accra Ni, but it basically means ant hill. and they talk about the people being ants and how Accra was the city of ants, and that's literally what the name means. It's like a anthill city.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I know that the Twi, the language they speak, Twi, is connected to the Hebrew writings. That's also connected with the Indians here in America. And so I'm just tapping into some of my knowledge that's being brought up to what you're saying, and I know that there's a through line with this point of the Ant people, the Anunnaki, and even we can look at
yes, it's universal.
Right.
It's one wisdom from one people, and that's part of the teaching, is to let everybody know that a lot of people don't want to say Anunnaki, but those are the people that scattered these monuments and scattered these mountains and left them here to balance the earth, in different spots. And that's why I say the Quran, when you go to Quran, Surah 51, it's called Abdaliyah, the scatterers. And it shows you that this Anunnaki scattered these monuments, because it's 51 because the lateral base of the Great Pyramid slopes upward 51 degree angle. And there's just one God, one aim, one destiny, one vibration. You don't see any name written on the pyramid. So Ital Iman built this, and Straw Hat KiLiK built that.
Right.
It's just one vibe, and this one vibe was scattered throughout the world aligned upon these ley lines. That goes all we found like ley lines, stargates, bro, all across the prophet Akibaka. His head is laying directly on the stargate, right there in Antigua.
That's right.
So these stargates run all across the globe, all the way to the the Rock of the Dome, which is a focal point. That's our wisdom to the Rock of the Dome. And the Anunnaki laid all of these monuments on these specific, where these star lines, these stargates meet. So through the music of Akibeka, it verified the ancient ley lines, the high places of Anu. And that's why he was buried where he's buried, because in that area where he's buried, very important spot. So these places can be activated. The Rock of the Dome, that rock there is shaped like that area of California on the map, and it shows where there will be in the last final day this great earthquake that will happen. See, all that's got to happen. These great earthquakes has got to happen. All that before the end. So whoever gets in presidency, it really don't matter, because if Trump do it, he's going to go through his Pharaoh situation. We got to go to and say, let my people go. And so America is going to be judged by the black man anyway.
That's right.
So this is sort of like scattered, but the Holy Book of Wonder, I'll just say like this, my writings, the entire thing explains all that we're talking about. So the Holy Book of Wonder is basic, where all the teachings come from, about making a sound, and then the Stone Man transmission is the technology of it. And then we have the book Be Still, a tribute to Akibeka. It goes a little more into the technology, speaking about the earth grid nodals and points and all that. So basically I'm trying to not identify, but I thought about this word all day. It's giving the meaning to our own knowledge, defining our own experience. And normally the Europeans defines our experience. Like when Stevie Wonder dies, they're going to say Stevie Wonder was a musical genius, and that's all they're going to say. They're not going to say what it is that he really did on the esoteric side. Nobody's going to talk about that. So it's my job to do that, is to let you know exactly what his genius was, not just playing music, not just making so many albums, but to define our culture, our Kabbalistic wisdom. Because we in the wilderness of North America, we have Kabbalistic wisdom, just like the so-called Jews. That was ours anyway. But we have a new Kabbalistic wisdom that came through the music of the 7 major prophets, or poets. Elijah Muhammad did a great job of that, but the Nation of Islam time was over in the year 1990.
Yeah. I would like to ask you about, let's see. So I asked you what is the question. Now the next question is what is the answer?
The answer is unify, come together, and it's so simple. Certain people cry out to the gods. Certain people come together, certain times, certain place, face certain directions. The code is in the Adhan, the calling of prayer by the Muslims. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Everybody come together, regardless of spiritual and social station, rich, poor, or whatever. Come together and make a noise unto the Lord. Now, note the minarets. The temples are normally flanked by minarets. And the muazzin, the man that called to prayer, normally in the old days, he would go up top of the minaret because he'd be high above the people. And he'd call everybody to him to call people to prayer. So that was a code. The minarets are symbolic of multi-staged rocket ships. So the code is there. When you're calling Allah, Allahu Akbar, you're actually calling the Anunnaki to come get us. So they built that code into the muazzin, into the call to prayer, how to contact them. That's what the code of the Adhan, the call to prayer is. That's what the Master Blaster Jamming is the call to prayer. That's our ultimate thing that we should do, is to call upon Allah, and Allah is the code word for the collective Anunnaki. Multi-staged rocket ships. And that's the way the Anunnaki speak to us. And through George Clinton music, which he'd have to deny it all, this is the way we funk with you. This is the way Anunnaki talk to you. It's a language. And in the Bible, they call the language of the birds, which is a symbolic language. Language of the poets. Yes, multi-stage rocket ships. See the one there on the left, for left? Multi-stage rocket ships. That's what the and that could be found actually in the ancient Sumerian text. They show that. So that's why they built the minarets.
It's deep.
Yeah.
It's deep, but it's really simple. It's like, we.
That's what I'm saying. It is simple, isn't it?
It is, but it's a deep concept. But it's like it's right there in plain sight. Cause so many people, they hear the music, they hear the drums, they hear the bass, and it's like, all right, something start moving, their jeans start to bob, their head start to bob, foot start to tap, and I think that's something intrinsic within our DNA.
Yes.
I studied bird songs, and what's interesting is that birds, they know the songs in their DNA. It's not like they have a teacher or go to school and somebody has to tell them, okay, this is how you sing this note. They look to the sun and give praises to Jah in the morning, and it's like when the sun rises, the light codes kind of give them the information they need.
Yes. Dr. Tagore said that the bird sings not because it's light yet, but he have faith in the dawn. He know intrinsically it's going to be like. He can feel it.
That's right.
I know I didn't quite say that right.
No,
but you don't get what I'm saying.
You hit the point perfectly, because it's like the what is it? In September 11th in the Nile Valley, Sirius, when it rises before the sun, that's how they know that the rivers are gonna flood, and that signals
Yes,
the new year.
it's just in the blood. So it's in the blood. Yeah.
And the birds, they also watch their elders. You know, they watch the older birds, just like how I'm sitting here having this interview with you. It's important for the new generation to tap in, and even just to sit and listen. And because the fact that the elder birds are singing those songs, it activates something in the DNA of the new birds.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the younger people are not aware that we know this. You know, the elders know what they're doing. You know, they're the tone scientists, so they know. You know, just a phrase, you're now in tune. On the one, the force itself. At this time, we call the Holy Master Blaster Jamming. But a lot of people don't really listen. They don't listen to what you're saying. You know, then 10 years later, somebody says, "Damn, what did he just say?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you say a lot, just in a few words. You say a lot.
Yeah, it's like they hear you, but they're not listening. But that's
Yeah,
okay because
they're not listening. The secret language of the birds. Check it out. Solomon knew that language. It was a language of the poets. It's actually warfare. It's a lot of things. The secret language of the birds. You know.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's right. The one thing I noticed when I went to Ghana was that the language, when they would speak Twi, it sounded like birds, you know, singing. Or some of these ancient languages, they have
Yeah.
this musical tone to
Rhythm.
it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Or when people, I saw somebody, you know, I study dialectics a lot, and I think that Ebonics, you know, needs to be elevated to its own language. But in my studying of Ebonics, I noticed that people who are outside of our culture, they say they listen to black people speak English, or they listen to people from the Virgin Islands speak English, and it sounds like music to them. And I know that it's in our natural rhythm to speak with a rhythm and the tone and the inflections. Like you said, you are now in tune. When I'm watching your videos and you'll say a point, and then the point will be so heavy, you are now in tune. It's like, oh yeah, that was it right there. What's
A
the
rhythm.
movie?
Yeah, it's a rhythm.
Yeah, the movie Don't Be a Menace, that had a mailman come. He say message. Even if you're not paying attention, you know the soil.
Yeah.
The soil is fertile, so you plant the seed,
Yeah.
and like you said, 10 years later, it's gonna grow, it's gonna bud.
Yeah.
Was,
Yeah.
was that your video
That's what it is.
talking about the bamboo? You have to you have to water the same spot with your bamboo seeds.
Yeah. What's that brother's name? That talked about that bamboo. That seed.
It was on your video. I can't remember
Yeah,
who it was.
there was a brother.
Yeah.
There was a brother. He's like a inspirational speaker.
Yeah.
He told that story about the planting that seed. It took it like shit. I don't know how many years for it to grow, but you have to just constantly
Wait.
plant that
keep
thing. You
talking
know, constantly
to it.
water it. You
Yeah.
got to constantly water it.
That's
You have to
right.
water it. Be the tallest bamboo in the forest.
Strong too. 90.
Yeah.
You said 90 feet in
Yeah, man, that's the whole thing.
50 days, but after 5 years, you see nothing. So it's growing underground the
Yeah,
whole time.
you have to really do it. And basically, you're right. Basically, that's what happened with me. You know, I didn't realize people were listening to me as like they was. So I started hearing these stories about brothers in Africa. You say one brother was baptizing in the name of Ital Iman. I said, great God Almighty. And then the South Africans, they were like, damn, they got it. Because the Anunnaki was like in their area, basically. So they understand what Anunnaki is.
Yes,
And they were just happy somebody came along and, okay, started teaching about the Anunnaki that was black.
That's right.
You know. But for some people, Anunnaki like totally taboo. You know, the white people, I hate to say white people, but the propagandists got people spooked out, bro.
Yeah, that's their job though, is to create confusion, you know, and
Yeah.
it's up to us with the discerning eye, you know, the eyes that see, the ears that hear, you know, the message won't be missed. It's just important to produce that vibration because you know, I make music, and so a lot of times I maybe feel like, oh, nobody's listening to my message, or you know, my music, I'm not talking about the stuff that's on the radio, so this is the point. But no, the thing is, there's someone right now who wants to hear it. Just waiting on you to put it out, waiting on me to release it, and so.
Perfect example of this situation here. Okay, the average person that thinks that they're somebody, and if you ask them for an interview, and they will look at your stuff and they say 200, 300 hits, 100 hits, and no hits, no hits. But when I look at it, I say, okay, perfect example, because this is real. So I said, I'm going to come here and do this. And look what we've done in just the amount of time that we covered.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's for the. I look at this as a time capsule. You know, even if it
Yeah.
don't go
Yeah. I don't know. It's perfect, bro. It's perfect. That's what it is. And I understand it's a time capsule situation too. And that's exactly why I'm doing it.
Also, there's the multi-dimensional aspect, or even within our plane. You know, the fact that we're having this conversation now. There's 6 other conversations going on at the exact same time, breaking through.
Yes, it's time. Like this particular date and everything. It was important that it came out at this particular time, and it was important that you did it. Nobody else but you did it.
I want to ask you to draw. That's right. We give thanks, and I know that I have to just do the work. And so I would like to ask you to draw a connection, if you might, between the Anunnaki, the Rastafari, and our destiny as melanin wealthy Americans. I think there's a connection.
The Rastafari is a symbolic group of people. Basically, the Naya Bengi is very symbolic. But we must remember the fact that the Emperor Haile Selassie made sure that Bob Marley got the ring. The ring was given to Bob. The ring that Solomon wore, the ring that Haile Selassie wore, was given to Bob Marley by Haile Selassie's grandson or son. But Haile Selassie, in his Soto Majesty, made sure that Bob Marley received that ring, which means that the Rastafari, I, are very important, significant, pivotal people in this scenario of the upliftment of the people. So, being that I, are the poets. The poets means prophets. In the Bible time, there was no word for poet, so they used prophet.
Yes,
not meaning that this person prophesied or told the future. For instance, Saul, the story of Saul is about Saul was coming down the stairway, playing on a psaltery, and he said evil spirits overtook him, so he just played out a tune. He wasn't a very good musician. So the Bible is allegory, metaphors, and similes. Every noun has a deeper level of meaning. So we as Rastafari, we represent the boat of Noah.
David played for Saul. This is the book of the Bible my fiance and I are reading right now. Yeah, Saul was plagued by the spirits from God because he had taken heed from the people to enjoy the spoils of war when Jah told him, just to completely destroy them. And since he didn't, he lost his right to the throne. But he stayed on because he had the armies and the power. So he even David was anointed the new king, but before he could take the throne, Saul in his jealousy sought to take out the new ruler, and so he didn't know it was David, but he had David at his court playing music to ease him from the spirits that was plaguing him from his misdeeds. And I think it's just amazing to even bring it up, because that's literally where my Bible is right now.
Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, man, it's deep, brother. The whole situation is really deep because it's a certain vibration, man. The Anunnaki, a lot of brothers, I don't know why they don't like to hear Anunnaki, but I just love to hear that word, Anunnaki, the sons of Anu. Because you go to the essence, you don't play around with all the things in between. You go to the essence of those that in the beginning said, let us create mankind in our own image. You go all the way to the reality of that. So there's nothing in between. And you look at the Sphinx and you say, who is this Anunnaki? And you see that face on the holy cat, and that's Anunnaki. It looks just like me and you. So we are the creators of mankind. That's deep. Just by knowing that you are part of the creators, not the creation. You're part of the people that set these mountains in place, set the pyramids in a certain spot to balance the earth. That's deep, bro. That's enough power alone to have us overcome this little problem that we think we have, but we got somebody over there trying to teach us how to make money, instead of how to know who we are. That's the problem. We want to be just like the white man. We want to be just like him. We don't want to be ourselves. We want to be like him. That's our problem. So that's what that first press conference I went to in D.C. to get the Martin Luther King birthday national holiday. The theme was, where do we go from here?
Exactly.
And this is where we go from here. We call down the ancestors, because look, right now they got these crazy homosexuals got this needle, and they're saying everybody's got to take this shot, and thousands of people are going to take that shot, bro.
Oh yeah.
They're going to take that shot.
Man, I have to. Every time I hear about this shot, it's a TV show called Utopia. It's some crazy stuff. But let me see if I can find the video real quick, cause basically it's a show about some people who are interested in this comic book. But in the comic book, they have coded all types of messages, and the messages coded into the comic book are about world pandemic events. So you would see like a little picture in the comic book. Huh. Oh, yeah. Hopefully I don't get no YouTube flag. But they would ask them about different little points in the video, but there's a point where the company, who's like one of the secret cabals in the world, is running. They basically put out a virus, and they put the virus out through minks. This animal called a mink in a petting zoo, and it's a traveling petting zoo that goes across the United States and the world. And whoever sends their kids to go pet the animals, they come home with the virus, and it spread through the schools. And they was making some invisible meat. It's a crazy show, but I want to find this one scene where everybody is like trying to tear down the walls to get the vaccine. But it's so you can tell it's manufactured, because it's pretty much. I don't think I'm gonna be able to find it, and I don't want to get flagged on YouTube.
Yes, because you might get flagged. We already put a Crazy George up there.
Yeah, exactly. They already mad that we, but I ain't gonna get no flag, so let's keep that out there. But what's important is that I see that scene in real life now, because they had a scientist who thought that he was doing the right thing, but really he was being manipulated by propaganda, so that way he was like, okay, I'm making this vaccine, and they even had him administer his vaccine onto a patient who was dying, because there's no vaccine for it really, but the patient was dying, and they switched out her when he wasn't looking for her twin, and then brought her back in. So he thinking the vaccine worked, and he go out to the people, yeah, the vaccine is safe, but we still need to test it. But the company is like, oh, he said it's safe. And so it's kind of like this propaganda mind game, to where it's levels to it, but they even trick the people who think that they're doing right things into doing the wrong things. Exactly. And so it's hard. It's hard to...
Yes, it's almost like the QAnon movement. A lot of those people are disappointed, because they was thinking like, okay, we fixing to really kick butt, but everything's gonna be okay. It don't matter, because nobody's gonna follow Biden, bro.
Right.
Biden, I don't even see Biden as the president. How can Biden be the president? You don't feel it. It's like Hillary. Hillary didn't make it.
I think it's important to look at his name too, because like with Trump, in the book of Revelation, it said the trumpets will sound in the end times.
Yeah.
Then also we look at his name, Biden, and now what we doing? We biding our time until the Anunnaki,
absolutely,
until our consciousness is revived. And I think it's really just on us. It's like
that's it, brother.
Yeah, we can turn this whole thing over when we're ready.
Yes, that's it.
Take a how do you call it, a critical mass. Don't
that's
gotta be everybody, but
butterfly effect, 100th monkey, whatever.
That's right. 144,000. As soon as we tap in.
Man. It's serious.
Enough people turn on the light. Yeah. like you talked about with those ley lines, it's like we, even as sons of Sirius, descendants of the Dogon, scattered across this planet. Once enough of us turn on our light, it's just
Yep.
gonna cause the chain reaction for the ley
Stop
lines.
trying to be the one,
That's right.
and play our respective role in this body of Christ. You got a head, hey, Selassie. You got a head, you got an arm, you got a neck, you got a leg, one body, Christ. It's
Oh,
simple, bro.
okay. One thing that I know is very interesting, I found from your publications, is this information about uh, Brother Benjamin Banneker. And
Yes.
yeah, I would like to hear you speak to that. And I think to form it in a specific question is who who is Benjamin Banneker and why is he important to us in this time and space?
Well, Benjamin Banneker is the Godfather. He is the one that laid down the foundation of America. He cordoned off the Washington Mall. In other words, he laid the stones around D.C. in the shape of a diamond that blocked it in. And that diamond, I'm not using the correct term for what he did, but I can't really think, because I'm speaking without notes. Normally, most of the time I have notes. But anyway, he blocked DC off. What's the correct word for that?
He did the what's it called, the survey of the land. He was a surveyor.
Yeah, okay. He surveyed the land, but he specifically placed these stones in the shape of a diamond that put the Washington Mall inside of those boundary stones. That's what it is. He laid the boundary for the Washington Mall, and that diamond, that boundary is in the shape of a diamond shape. When it corresponds, it with the diamond shape of Virgo, the Virgo constellation. So that's the reflection on earth as it is in heaven with Virgo. And Virgo is the vibration of DC. So Benjamin Banneker wasn't just a brother that worked with LaFont and George Washington. Those plans of DC were the plan, and we prove this in the Holy Book of Wonder. Those plans of DC were the plans of Benjamin Banneker alone. The so-called official story says that LaFont was old hothead, and he left the project because he was upset with what was going on. And they say that Banneker remembered the blueprint, but no, Banneker had the blueprint all the time. Banneker knew about Sirius. Notice that America, the scientists, just found out about Sirius recently. But Banneker had the wisdom of Sirius way back there. That was like 1700 and something. So some people say he come from the Dogon in Mali and all that, which he was a descendant of Africans. But that's why I see one of the stones, the boundary stones there. But Banneker laid those stones out. Banneker, we prove in the Holy Book of Wonder, or we reveal that Banneker was the architect of the esoterics of what this nation's capital. So this energy, this vibration anyway, is the vibration of the black man. And Benjamin Banneker laid this for our freedom that we know. It's like the North, the Big Dipper pointing to North Star and all this kind of thing.
That's right.
So Benjamin Banneker is a man. So this is our power anyway here in America. This is our power. This is our country, America. We built this country. We laid the foundation, literally laid the foundation for this country, America. And we were here, the Olmec, North America, Olmec, South America, Quetzalcoatl, known throughout the Americas, thought Nangishzida from the mothership or from the Sumerian text, Nangishzida, who was Thoth, author of the Emerald Tablets, that's the stones, author of the Emerald Tablets, and Quetzalcoatl of the Americas, the plum serpent. So this is our vibration. America is ours. So we should be proud to be Americans proud to be Trump supporters. Ooh,
So I think it's crazy that Benjamin Banneker is one of our true founding fathers, and
he is the founding father. He's the spiritual backbone of America.
But why?
But you know, they ain't gonna write that and let us know that. That's why I did the research to find it out. Look at the what do you call that building there? The Museum of African American History down there.
Yeah.
Washington Mall. Look what it's shaped like. It's shaped like a pyramid, a pyramid point upside down, landing.
That's right.
Upside down.
Let me pull it up. The NMACC.
Yeah.
NMAAC, I think. Yeah, I think it was made by a brother from Ghana, actually.
African brother. All this information is in the Holy Book of Wonder. It breaks it down. That boy said that Holy Book of Wonder, didn't he? But yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's it.
I'm gonna get mine as soon as they out of print right now. I think you got some more coming next week on the.
No, it's right. The company just went through a little change. Okay. But see that one there where you got the obelisk in the background?
That's right.
Oh, you see how that pyramid is going up and this one's going down. That's a serious vibration. And what's that thing? I forgot the name of that circle there. It's the technical name for that. Anyway,
which
that's some serious.
The serpent.
Yeah, that circle there. You call it something.
Oh, the circle.
There's a technical name with that circle. I can't recall it now.
I can't remember, but I do know what you're talking about.
I'm too lazy to look it up.
Sorry.
But the pyramid, you see the pyramid shape of the museum. It's going down. You got up, so that's the Star of David right there.
That's right.
Okay, that building right there was built and placed there. It's actually the last building on that property.
Yeah, it's the last Smithsonian Museum. They had like a 100-year plan or something.
It's the last spot on the mall. It's very significant. And the blacks only knew the significance of that. If you get the Holy Book of Wonder, you'll find out just what that means right there. That's very important.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very, very important. And they got George Clinton's mothership up in there, too.
They do.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Benjamin Banneker planned this mall down to every square inch of it. So
Yes. It's very profound, bro. Very profound. And look how space age that look. Yeah. It's actually okay when the normal came to Earth, they came in what's called the Koronah. And the Koronah was a pyramidic shaped building. That's what it's a symbol of, the Koronah of the Dogon, and that's like the capstone of the pyramid.
Yeah.
It's very hard to find information on the Koronah, but the Koronah is what they came down in, and it was a pyramid, and that's what the capstone is. The Koronah, the Dogon, the Nomo. People came, the 8 ancestors came down the Koronah. They brought grain. They brought everything they needed to start the civilization here on Earth.
One thing too about Benjamin Banneker, he has a tower named after him in London. What's that about?
No, I've never. That's the first time hearing about that. That's deep.
You know, what's it called? Big Ben. This is the one of the.
Oh, that's right. Is that about Benjamin Banneker?
That's what I hear. I hear it's about him.
The tower.
Yeah, Big Ben Tower.
No, that's that 5 tones. That's the 5 tones of the Close Encounters. That the sound that Big Ben make. The 5 tones. Yeah.
Yep. So that's something I'm gonna dig on and try to find out is what's his
about the clock and Benjamin Banneker.
Yeah.
Oh, because he's the first man that made the clock. The watch, you remember?
Black mathematician. Yeah, he is master of time.
Yeah, man, that's something. Yeah, man, black folks are very important, bro. We're very important, but all we like to do is dance and sing.
Right. And that's important because
Too much twerking going on, bro.
when we dance and sing though, that kind of leads the world. You know, our singing and our dancing, it changes the vibration of the planet, and so.
Well, that's true too. But I'm just saying, when you have twerking, is the most everywhere you look, you see a big butt clapping. I mean, you know, it's just ridiculous the way it is. But I understand what you're saying. It's true. But for your conscience to be there all the time, like all of our sisters, not all of us, I'm just talking about those sisters that's clapping every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely a state of distraction with the lower vibrations. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just think if everybody out there was on the same level you're on, how beautiful would that be?
Man, if everybody was on our level, we'll be doing a whole lot of talking. I feel like we'll just be reasoning for hours and getting.
Well, see, just that reason for hours would change things because of the vibration of the sound. The whole atmosphere would be transformed if that many people were actually doing that.
That's right.
So, you just look at the power of George Clinton, for instance. Do you know that George Clinton was wearing that colored hair way before these so-called, what you call them, throats?
Oh, yeah.
Was wearing their hair like that?
Yeah. And now you got everybody wearing their hair like that.
This is a futuristic person, right?
That's right.
But he's claiming he didn't know what he was doing. He said he was just doing drugs and trying to get some snatch, and he didn't realize what he was doing. He goes lying. He's lying. This is a prophet. Maybe he done lost his mind now. But this is the future. He was doing that back before these girls wear hair just like that. You know these wigs these girls are wearing nowadays?
Yeah, color hair. I know.
Just like that. And that wasn't happening when he was doing it. He was ahead of his time.
Are you familiar?
So that's what MK Ultra was all about anyway. I mean, the people that put the LSD out. You know, back in the 70s, I tasted purple microdot and blotter and all that, and it really opens your mind up, you know.
Yeah, it does.
So that's why we know what we know. But MK, the people that did that, know George Clinton know what he's doing. He want to deny it now because his sorority people told him not to. It's all good. It's all good. I'm just gonna let him have his way. He got to pay the price, you know, not me.
He did what he needed to do, you know.
Yeah. It worked. It worked. We got the message. He can just go to hell now, which he's going anyway.
Are you familiar?
Take that shot, huh?
Are you familiar with the Mandela Effect?
I've heard of it, and I've seen different things that but it's not so plain. It's not really as obvious as they try to make it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I've seen things like I remember one time when I was living in Atlanta, I specifically remember that they got the walls of the Kaaba, and this was about the time that Mandela made his United States journey. They took the walls off of the Kaaba, some of the curtains, and brought them to Atlanta and put it on display. But there's no information about that. Nowhere.
What?
Yeah.
They took the information about the Kaaba and brought it to Atlanta. They
took the curtains, like the curtains.
Yeah.
From the Kaaba in Mecca and brought it to Atlanta and put it on display. It was about the same time that Mandela was getting free and he was traveling the country. By the time this so-called Mandela Effect started.
So who? Look, will you just say that again? I was starting to look away from the screen and kind of.
No, I was saying that I've seen things happen that you could consider the Mandela Effect.
That's right.
And one thing was, I remember specifically that the walls of the Kaaba in Mecca was on display in Atlanta.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's no information about it, so it's just like I'm crazy. I lost my mind and I hallucinated and thought the walls was there. But I don't have, to me that's sort of like the Mandela Effect.
No, exactly.
Things like this, I don't know. To me, the Mandela Effect is something that can't be proven.
Yeah.
But I've seen some things, like I remember these brothers, this certain person that had died.
Yeah.
I saw the person again like years later.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, I don't know whether he's living or not. I don't know. But it's something you can't prove.
It reminds me when I think about the Mandela Effect. First when you was talking about George Clinton, I thought about the man Sinbad, the comedian, who did that movie Shazam in the '90s. I was born in '93, so seeing that movie when I was little, it stood out to me. It was like a black man being a genie with some kids, and I just thought it was a cool little movie. And then right maybe the next year, Shaq made a movie called Kazam, where he was a genie and kind of doing the same thing. And I was like, okay, that's weird. They did the same movie, but same kind of plot line or whatever. But now the internet has come, 2008, 2009. I remember that movie, and I was like, oh, I'm typing, do y'all remember this movie Shazam with Sinbad in it? And people was like, no, that movie never existed. What are you talking about? And then we find a YouTube video of Sinbad talking about it, and you can tell it's kind of this bootleg kind of thing. And he like, nah, the movie never existed. I don't know what you're talking about. Wink, wink. If there was ever a movie, wink, wink, with this. So I'm like, okay, it's clearly something going on. But the bigger part behind it, it's fun to talk about conspiracy, but what can we actually chew on? I think it's important to look at what's going on with these supercomputers, what they call the Hadron Collider, and the thing in CERN. I know there's one in America as well. But it was around that time when they started to publish their research that this Mandela Effect. I've seen people connect it. It started to I don't know if I wouldn't say that there's actually, I don't know the intention behind it, or if the power is even real to collapse dimensions and have timelines overlap to the point where some of the details in our old timeline, like let's say we remember this person being alive or dying this day, or this particular cartoon publication having this certain look to it, to where when the Hadron Collider is in effect, the time space continuum is being altered, that we start to notice glitches in the matrix, as we could say, or maybe you looking at the street, you see the same person walk by, and it's like, wait, did I just see you walk that way? You didn't walk this way.
Yeah.
I think it's what is it? You look too long, you start to see the devil in the details. So it's not. It's kind of. It's like how important is this to look at? But for me, I think it was just a question to ask, because we was talking about George Clinton, and he kind of flipped the script from him being very adamant about the messages from Sirius to now we see him pushing the vaccine shot. And,
Yeah, that's a hell of a thing to push a vaccine shot. But if you look at it, it all goes together with the drugs that he's taking. So maybe he'll go through the vaccine and then really come on out and let us know what's going on, what he saw.
That's right.
What it is that he saw in there, But that's a crazy thing, bro.
Like,
for these people to alter your genetic structure and take you back to the Cro-Magnon. So putting their beginnings in you. That's dumbing you down, taking you from the God state and taking you back. So in other words, they're actually jealous of us, jealous of God, and they're going to try to play God. So if Trump did not become the president, something will happen something that's needed to happen will happen. Extraterrestrial intervention. And it won't be the intervention that they think is going to happen. Babylon will fall totally, crumble.
I saw something. I think what they may try to do in this case is to make this united world government in the face of a looming intergalactic threat, and do this kind of world currency thing in one state. And I think, Ronald Reagan went to the United Nations and said, all we need is an alien invasion, and that'll unite the people of the world. And kind of what JFK was talking about, where he was saying there's this shadow government that's looking to take over unilaterally. And I think it's important.
That's what Trump was trying to stop, That's why I was behind him, because he was trying to stop that. I mean, these people can't play God. I mean, look at this. This whole alien thing, man. I mean, it's not real. It's like looking at a cartoon. So you can tell they think people are really stupid. They're going to send you a $600 stimulus check. They're going to tease you about it. They give you $1,200 in the beginning. Then they tease you and they say, well, if we give them this $600, they go and take the shot.
You can buy them out.
That's really, really thinking low of people. You want to alter your genetics for $600, sell your soul like George Clinton? No way. But George finally made history, you know what I mean?